Okay, guys, I wanted to do a quick video. Don't know how quick it'll be, but talked a little bit about grades and where we are, where you are, and how to understand it. And it just feels like giving you a tool to make sense of it would be good. And guess what? It's using Excel. So this is the assignment structure of the class. You've got all of these in-class submissions, you've got all these Newtons, you've got all these discussions, milestones, project. And all of that leads into a weighted grade calculation. I've got it set up here. The way things are now with this person, everything's set to 100%. This is considering it as points, is the way it shows up in D2L. And so they're ending up with a 100% as their final grade. I'm going to highlight that. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put in some numbers. So this is what I think you should do with your own grades. So I'll just pick somebody, put in some numbers, maybe do a mixture of people. All right, so this person started off with 1.8, then they got a 0, then they got a 1, and they got a 1.6. And then they got a 0.6. So this is where they are now. You can see how this is affecting their grade. They now have a 97. This isn't the way it appears right now. This person actually is showing that they have an F. And that's part of the kind of challenge of how to report grades that are not finished. The semester's not finished yet. This is a bigger problem here. This is a 0, 0.33. Oh, these are actually, this is a weird one, 6.67 points each. And then there's a 4.0 on that one. And then a 4.33 this one. Okay. And then we've got the discussion. That was a 4 out of 5. And then we've got the milestone, which they did submit, but they struggled. 5 out of 20. Okay. So one of the key differences in like how this shows up in the way you see it versus the way I think you should look at it is that the way that I did it, has everything that hasn't been done as 100%. So it's saying, what if I got 100% on everything else? And you can see that the way the person is now, they're ending up with a 91%. It's an A in the class. That's even with, now let's see, I don't think this doesn't feel right. I might have made a mistake here. H3, H4. Oh yeah, I'm off by 1. Okay, that should be fixed. And then the discussions, is that right? F3 to F5. No, that's not right. Yes. I'm off. Oh, wait a minute. I know I did. This will be fixed by the time you get it. Don't worry. Yes, I'm off by 1 here. And the Newtons. Okay, great. Okay, so they have 82%. They don't have an A. That seems a little more accurate. But consider that this person is seeing right now that they have an 18.67 out of 55. That's a 34%. So they're sitting at a 34% now. They could end up with an 82%. Now, maybe that's not realistic. I mean, given that, they haven't gotten a 2 yet on any submission, maybe it's not realistic to say, well, we're going to get perfect 2s from here on out. Well, fine. Let's just say we get 1.5 and 1.6 and 1.4 and 1.2 and 1.6. That's more realistic. Okay. Well, now we're sitting at 81%. We were at 82%, so that's not really that big of a deal. Now the newtons are critical because up to this point, this hasn't been a strong suit. So what if they start investing more time here? But they're still not going to get it perfect. 4, 3, 2, 4.33. Okay, let's say now we're down to a C. The milestone could be improved, so that could go up to, say, a 15 instead of a 20. All right, now we're back to a B. So this is what I mean by kind of using Excel. We've got the formulas set up so that the grade is auto recalculating every time any number changes. And we can kind of mess around and see like, well, what happens if I don't do as well on this? What happens if I don't get 100% on the final project? But if I get a 30 out of 35 on the final project, okay, now we're down to a C. And you can kind of think about what is important in terms of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Now, I gave you two different sheets here, points-based and a percentage-based, because you may care to think about things as a percentage instead of as points-based. So let me do another person. This person also currently has an F. So I'm going to start with 0, 0. This was an 80%. And then they got a 90%. And in the last one, they got back to a 0. Okay. And then in their newtons, person started off with a couple of zeros and since then has gotten the hundreds. In the discussion, they didn't do their discussion. Got a 0. And in the milestone, right now they're sitting at a 13.13. I'm just going to say that's like a 65%. Okay, so this is where they are. They've got a B in the class. Sorry, like I said, they have an F in the class now. They could end with a B in the class if everything else ends up as 100%. Again, this could be redone. So if we bring that up to 95, and A is still within range, I would round this up. And remember that there's the thing about the in-class submissions. So if this person were pretty close to that, let's say they did a 90 on their milestone. So they're within a couple of points of getting an A. I would look at the in-class submissions that they didn't turn in if they were ready to submit, up to 3 of them, and then they could get more credit on those. So I made the percent one just in case it's easier for you to think as percents, like, well, I'm going to get a 90 on this, I'm going to get an 80 on this, a 75 on this. All right, in the newtons, I'm going to get an 80 on this and a 90 on this, and I'm not going to do this one, and I'm going to get a 50 on this. And the discussion's definitely going to get 100% on those. Let's take this back to the 65 that it was, and let's say we do mildly better on milestone 2, but I don't redo milestone 1, and the final project is an 80, not 100. Okay, so we got a C. So this is how you would use the tool. Put into the real numbers, then go back with the numbers that are still sitting at 100 and change them to be reflective of how you think you're going to do, so you can kind of start to see it. And then as time goes on, we get into mod 6, mod 7, you can start filling in more numbers, and then you can kind of have a sense of where you're going to end up, and especially what you need to do on your final project, what you need to do on the resubmissions in order to get the final grade that you want. I think this is a nice tool for you to have so that it just gives you more sense of control over, what work do I need to do in order to get the grade that I'm kind of shooting for. All right, hope that was helpful. Put this Excel in the announcement so you can download it. All right, work hard. That's the key. Be dedicated. Come every day to class. Get help when you need it. Reach out if you're stuck. There's just a list of very simple student success things that you can do to be successful in the course. So don't give up.